Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 50 of the Great Canadian Hockey Podcast. We are officially at the half century mark. I am feeling jazzed up for that one. And yeah, it feels like a long time coming. It feels like a number we've been building to. But I don't see any other exciting numbers after that for a while. So this is the last time you'll see me gush about a number. But enough about that. How are we doing, fella? How is my co-host Aidan Serra?
We are doing number 50, Brendan Gaunce, Vancouver Canucks. Do you have anything else off the
I
top of your
don't have a
head?
number. Wait, Jose Theodore, was he
I
50?
think he was 60. He was
Oh,
60.
okay. I got nothing for you. I swear there was a goalie that was number 50,
No,
but
I think you're right. I just can't place it.
yeah, okay. Well, we're stuck with it being the Brendan Gaunce episode, as anticlimactic as that is. But
Well,
I think we'll have some more exciting things than Brendan Gaunce to talk about, luckily.
yeah, we initially planned this episode a little bit earlier, which would have meant I would not have been recording it the morning after the Canucks beat Vegas. So I'm a little bit happier than if we did this in the original schedule because I would just be expecting the Canucks to lose to Vegas. But Artur Shilov's pulled it off. Connor Garland played awesome, and Vancouver beat Vegas. So well, that'll come up because I do want to talk about Pacific Division title the way Edmonton's playing. But
Well, I mean, we're kind of already in that one. You want to just talk about that right now? Because I want to talk about Thomas Hurdle.
yes, sure. So okay, I guess yeah, we start with Vancouver. They lost to LA. James, did you watch that game? It was a Hockey Night in Canada one.
I just caught the highlights, the 10-minute Sportsnet now
Ye-
recap.
Yeah. Casey DeSmith is not playing very well. It's not a secret. It's not even an objective opinion. It's just a fact. So like it's he's not, like at the end of the day, he was playing well as a backup. He is now being asked to take on starter minutes without Thatcher Demko, and you can see that with a large accumulation of those starter minutes, it's getting to him. I'm not like totally crapping on the guy, but he's not playing very well in the net.
He seems
He
like a nice guy, though.
Yeah, sure, totally. I think putting in Artur Shilovs was the right choice against the Knights, and it worked. Vancouver won 4-3. Vegas took early leads, but Vancouver didn't break. Shilovs played well. Garland played well. Miller played well. Quinn Hughes has played quite well the last few games too. The Oilers had beat Calgary and Colorado in back-to-back games. We should talk about that Edmonton Colorado game. Man, the Oilers had them by the throat the entire time. There was nothing there.
Schedule loss.
Yeah.
Second away game in 2 nights on the road, and you're playing in Edmonton.
And
Schedule
Edmonton,
loss.
yeah. So as bad as Colorado looked, Edmonton looked better. It wasn't a matter of like Edmonton just played okay. Edmonton looked quite good. So it was a combination of both. They beat Calgary in a game that they didn't look as good in, like, but they still got the victory. Them and Vancouver have identical schedules this week, so they both play Vegas and Arizona. Edmonton plays Vegas on Wednesday. Vancouver plays Arizona on Wednesday. Then Edmonton has Arizona on Friday, and then Saturday is in Edmonton at Rogers Place between Vancouver and Edmonton. They were 3 points back with one game in hand before yesterday. Now, thanks to the win for the Canucks, they are 5 points up, but Edmonton has two games in hand. What's interesting is you're almost playing for home ice advantage right now. Obviously, the factor of, oh yeah, who you're going to play in the first round is going to be a big deal here. Um, it looks like the cushion the Dallas Stars have, which is 3 points up on the Canucks with the same number of games played. They only have 4 games left each. I don't think Vancouver catches Dallas, which means they'll get the first place of the two wildcard teams, which is Nashville right now. I think the Canucks match up with Nashville better than they do with LA or Vegas, which are the other two first round opponents that they'd have. I do think winning. Like I almost think for Vancouver, it's been kind of a tough enough stretch that you almost just want to win the division because you'll go into the playoffs more confident, right? Like I know that sounds a little bit flimsy, but I totally think that if they buckle here and the Oilers pass them, like imagine starting a game one of the playoffs against, and it could be LA or Vegas, they're tight, but as the 2v3 and you're just, you know that you were expecting to play Nashville. You know that you had the Pacific Division on lock all season, and you go into the playoffs as the 2 seed. I think it's important for the Canucks to stay in first place, especially with as young of a group. I don't know what you think.
I mean, to be honest, I think I'm on the other side of it. As long as they finish the season strong and don't just get wiped in the last few games and go in with bad mojo, I think that's all that really matters. I don't really think that the seeding matters much other than, I mean, yeah, it's cool to start a second round series at home.
That's what
Sweet.
I was, yeah, that's what I was going to bring up too, especially in the context of a Vancouver versus Edmonton second round. It would be, a huge advantage to have home ice, but
That's actually one series, like if it were Vancouver and Edmonton, I don't really worry about that one as much because it's not that much travel.
no, totally.
Like
Yeah.
like if you're
Yeah.
starting a 5 hour flight away from home on the road, that kind of sucks. Like if say, I mean, just in a purely hypothetical situation, not possible because of the standings. Say you had to start a round two series on the road in Nashville. That kind of blows. That's not fun. That's a loud building that's far away from home. That's not your usual practice facility. Like that's not a place you've played as much all year. I think that would kind of suck. I think Edmonton, not as bad, but still, yeah, it is an inconvenience for sure. Home ice advantage is home ice advantage.
Yeah, it's an advantage for a reason. Edmonton, Arizona just beat Vegas big a couple nights ago. We'll see what happens on Wednesday between the Oilers and the Knights, and then the Canucks Coyotes. Then it's Oilers Coyotes on Friday as the Pacific Division title continues to heat up and hopefully get solidified by the end of this week. You'd think with the head-to-head matchup being Vancouver's 80th game of the year, they should know at that point probably how this is going to end after that game. Speaking of the Arizona Coyotes, it looks like they're going to have one more chance to stay in Arizona. There is an arena site in Phoenix, close to Scottsdale, because Phoenix and Scottsdale are right beside each other. It's June 27th is the land auction. The Coyotes have said they're going to go win that land auction and they're going to put an arena there. James, I really want this to be the last chance they get. Not because I am like fed up with them as much as definitely some other people are, more because I just want this to be over.
Yeah, it'd be sweet to stop talking about it because for the majority of our lives, this has been a storyline. It hasn't stopped. We've been ongoing and it's ramped up a lot in the last half decade here where it's like they're homeless, they're without any options at times, and sometimes it just feels like I don't even want to be talking about this anymore. Like I mean, you said you're less sick of it, you just want it to be over. I'm sick of it. I'm very sick of it. Like send them to one of the very capable cities that could handle them. That would be great. But I mean, on the other end of it, there are a lot of people who believe that given the right entertainment district, which this land auction, according to artist renderings, would present, and it would present towards people who are in Scottsdale, which is a hell of a lot better than when they were in Glendale and they weren't close to good entertainment areas. It wasn't a good situation for packing a building and having a great fan base set up. So, I mean, on that end of it, I understand how they're like, okay, this would finally be the right situation, but all right, let's say everything goes according to plan. They win the auction. First off, when the auction's won, apparently you have to have a full plan for development and everything ready to go, and that has to be tentatively approved from what I read. And if it's not tentatively approved, you can't just come back with another plan right away. That's what I understand from it at least. It's kind of a one and done on that. Maybe you get another chance from some way I didn't understand, but then let's say everything goes according to plan there. That's still another 3 or 4 years that they're playing at the mullet. And another deal would have to be negotiated because apparently this would be a 4-year project from what I saw. And That would be 1 year past the extra year option they have at Arizona State University and the Mullet Arena. So they would potentially end up being homeless again.
Again, yeah.
Yeah. Like it just feels like a whole mess. And now, thank you for clearing it up before we hit record, but it's the mayor of Scottsdale that basically says he's completely not in support of this whatsoever and doesn't want it happening, and says, especially not with as unestablished of a development team as this. So we are already met with massive controversy after the Coyotes go and say this will happen. Honestly, this feels like it would have been better August news. I know the land auction's on the 27th, but like we're right in the heat before playoffs, and I honestly couldn't care less about what is going on right there right now. Is that rude? Is that bad?
No, I don't think so because like very literally the entire league have bigger fish to fry right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about the Oilers first. We're talking about this right now. I think we're talking about this to get it over with because there are a lot of more significant things happening right now, and I kind of think that plays into the Coyotes' hands because if this was the only hockey news, well, everybody would be right on top of them, just about everything, about all the details of their proposal, about everything you're talking about with the potential roadblocks, and that would be big news. And I don't think the Coyotes want that right now. I think they just want to get this done. Whether or not it will be done, they want to try to get it done, and then hopefully resolve the homelessness issue that they've had for longer than they should have by now.
To put a bow tie on this one and forget about it for a while, I'll just leave it with Aiden and I had this piece of news at the start of our rundown, and I dove into the option to talk about anything else before that because I thought if we start talking about this off the hop, I'm not going to be excited at all. Like, I'm really not.
Well, box has been checked. We will update the situation as is closer to the June 27th land auction.
Oh, great. I can't wait.
Last night we talked already about Vancouver Vegas. It was a doubleheader on Monday Night Hockey. The first game was Pittsburgh Toronto. Sidney Crosby had a tough night. He was constantly the victim of some unlucky plays. Took a weird fall in the corner in the second period. He had uh, Bobby McMahon. I don't want to say slash his face. It pretty much slash his face, unpenalized, and Crosby was cut. Um, you had him and Matthews with an awkward collision in the corner, but you also had him with a very nice assist on the game tying goal. He was instrumental in them beating Tampa Bay the night before. James, you look at Sidney Crosby and his statistics right now. This guy at 36 years old, 86 points in 78 games, 40 goals for just the third time in his career, 40 goals, mind you. I don't think it's this year. Nikita Kucherov, Nathan MacKinnon, and Connor McDavid are too important to their team and they're playing too well. But Sidney Crosby, to me, deserves to be in that conversation as one of four players that could win the Hart Trophy. Because to me, when I look at the Hart Trophy, I say, where would this team be without you? And Nikita Kucherov has like 51 more points than the next best player on his team. Nathan MacKinnon's been by far the most consistent Colorado Avalanche player. He's been in the fight game in, game out, no matter who else is, injured, who else is there, who else, no matter what else is going on. And Connor McDavid, I mean, you look at where Edmonton was at the start of the year, and you have to ask yourself, would they be in the playoffs right now without him? And I think the answer is absolutely not. But what Crosby's done at 36 for this Penguins team, to me, garners that conversation, right? Of, well, where would they be without him? I'll tell you, they would be in the Macklin Celebrini sweepstakes.
Yeah, I have my top four, and then I have my trio of guys who really should be in this race and are not. And So you have your Kucherov, your McKinnon, your McDavid, and Panarin. That's my top four.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's not very exciting because that's just the top four guys in points, but it really just is that way. That's what this race is right now in my eyes. And then after that, I've got Crosby, Hellebuck, and Yossi. Any other year, one of these guys at least should be in the conversation, but it's just not that way right now. It sadly just isn't. I mean, earlier in the year, we were saying, oh, well, maybe if Crosby could get Pittsburgh into a playoff spot. But now we're in a position where Pittsburgh may be in the playoffs and it is on his back, even after they traded Jay Gensel. And I still just don't see it. I feel like he probably finishes like fifth in voting. I have a feeling Panarin isn't going to get much love in voting. I just have that thought. So maybe Crosby's fourth. Maybe.
Well, realistically, like this year for me, there are 9 players where if you said they're going to get Hart Trophy nominated, I might not agree fully that that player should have above others, but I would see, like, I'd be able to, oh yeah, I can see that. You know what I mean? Like, I totally understand it. I think it's the 7 you said, add Quinn Hughes and Austin Matthews. I think that's the group of 9 guys that if their name popped up as a Hart Trophy nominee, it would make sense to me, right? Like Nashville's only there because of Yossi. Quinn Hughes, JT Miller and Thatcher Demko both deserve some love, but Quinn Hughes has largely been the best player for Vancouver this year, and they've
I
obviously had
think
a
I think Quinn Hughes doesn't get any love because of Vancouver's record after Demko went down for injury.
that's fair, but he also has been the only guy. Him and Miller have been the 2 guys that have stayed consistent
Yeah.
in terms of their stars. Like their depth players are playing well, but Pedersen and Besser have been pretty hot and cold while the team's been in a little bit of a
Yeah,
rut.
I think also the other reason I don't go for Hughes is because it feels like once every 3 games, Vancouver had a different best player of the game that game. I feel like for this award, it's like night in, night out. This guy is the reason this team is winning
Yeah,
decidedly.
no, totally, and that's I
That's
think
what keeps David Pastrnak off my list. There's a
yeah
lot of other guys step up in Boston from what I can tell.
he deserved his nomination last year for sure.
Yep. Yeah,
It's
definitely.
funny that like I think Matthews is my Matthews might be my 6 right now, and the guy's just scored his 65th goal, which we should talk about. That's a landmark. Only other player in this generation to score 65 goals was Alex Ovechkin, and I think 07, 08. So Matthews and Ovechkin now are both right there. And if Matthews scores 66, that'll be more than any player that we've ever seen score in our lifetimes, right? That
I think he's going to end with 68. That's my guess. That's the Landis
yeah,
got.
to me, it's there. I think the year that he scored 60, it seemed like he was going to get to 70, didn't. So to me, it's I didn't think he'd get to 65 this year, and he has.
Well,
You know what
20
I mean?
games ago or 25 games ago, it felt like a lock.
That
70 was like, damn, okay, yeah,
this is
this is a
happening.
sure
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
But I mean, 65 is still a hell of a lot of fun. We're watching one of the greatest goal scorers by the numbers of all time right now. And his name isn't even Alex Ovechkin. Like we do have to talk about Austin Matthews in that light. That is a thing.
yeah. I definitely think the consistency of Ovechkin. It's and I'm not the only. I'm not the rogue voice in saying that I want to see more from Matthews, not just um, in terms of consistency, because last year he had 40 goals. He was good, but it seems kind of like every other year he looks like this unstoppable force that will, that is just this complete all around goal scoring machine that doesn't have any deficiencies to his game. And then the year after he's good, he's not that. And this is kind of now like year 4 of that cycle going back and forth. Um, It's funny because I was about to say like the other piece that is going to become a factor when you talk about the greatness of players. And like I know some people don't like that this is the reality. The reality is playoff success does matter. And I know there are some people that, you'll see say, listen, team success and player success are different. It's like, yeah, that's true, but at the same time, sorry, not sorry, it matters, right? Like
Yeah, I mean, it took
um
Ovi until like until very, very late to win that cup.
It took Alex Ovechkin 13 years into his career to win two playoff rounds in the same playoffs. So
Yep.
Matthews is only 8, so well, it could still happen, right?
Well, and we're talking about greatest goal scorers here. Matthews is fifth in goals per game at 0.65. Can you name the four players ahead of him?
Hmm, can try. Wayne Gretzky
Nope.
in goals per game, really? Oh, I
Yeah,
guess not.
Gretzky has
Hey,
0.6.
interesting.
Tied with Ovi, 0.6.
Yeah, I figured Ovechkin wasn't just because of the the sheer number of games played. Mario Lemieux has to be there.
Yeah, he's number two at 0.75.
Okay.
It's actually a three-way tie, but he has less games played than the guys after, I guess. Or no, he's just ahead because he has more goals. That's what it is.
Okay, I'm gonna go Brett Hull.
Nope, he's right behind Ovi at 0.58.
Interesting. Mike
You are
Bossy then.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you don't get the guy who's number one, you're low end aging yourself because Bossy is first with 0.76.
Yeah, well, and it's funny, he would be a lot higher on those goal scoring ranks if he played more games. He played like I know he played less than 1,000 games. So did Lemieux, mind you.
Well,
Um,
I feel like I should just give you the other two because you are not going to get them. I would not have gotten them. I could not tell you what decade these guys played in.
okay, I was a
Babe Dye and Cy Deneni.
Babe Dye and Cy Dineni. Interesting.
Yeah.
I would have guessed Pavel Bure next.
He's got 0.62, sandwiched between Ovi and Gretzky and then Matthews.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So you can't not recognize that he's on the path to be one of the greatest goal scorers of all time.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think Ovechkin silenced every criticism of him, and Matthews has time to do so as well.
Totally, totally. Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, it's the kind of thing where you're not a winner till you are. It's just as simple as that. And look how many incredible players in the history of hockey just never won. And like you can't tell me that like Joe Thornton didn't put everything he could out there, every chance he had. Carey Price, everything he could. Henrik Lundqvist, everything he could. And to me, those guys are still winners. Yeah, they never won the Holy Grail, but they're still winners to me.
Nick, we just talked about the Hart Trophy race. Nikita Kucherov, 3 points up on Nathan MacKinnon right now. 136 for Kucherov, 133 for MacKinnon, 130 for Connor McDavid.
I still think McDavid's gonna end up winning it.
Yeah, no,
I think he's gonna have like a 4 assist game and then like a 2 goal and 3 assist game, and suddenly it's gonna be like, oh, well, this was written on the wall. It's just gonna creep up and happen. I'm not looking forward to it at all.
I vaguely think I might have asked you this already. This season, we have 3 players with 130 points or more. The last time that happened was 1992-93. One, two, three, four, five, 6 guys had 130 points or more in 92-93. How many of those 6 guys do you think you can give me?
Um, okay. Well, can I name two right off the bat and tell me if I'm wrong right away?
Sure.
McGillney and Solani.
Solani is a yes. That was his rookie season.
Okay.
Alexander McGillney's a no.
Okay, so not okay. I had to know if it was which one of those. Yager?
Jaromir Jagr is a no for this season.
Oh no. Gretzky?
Also a no for this season.
Oh wow. Well, this isn't good. Um, give me is this one of the ridiculous Bernie Nichols seasons?
No, that was few years prior.
Okay, gotcha.
He had like
Gotcha.
70 goals and 80 assists a
Yeah.
few years prior to this.
Is this a ridiculous Brett Hall year?
It isn't either.
Oh, okay. Give me. Give me. Wait, is there a Quebec Nordique on there?
There is not.
Okay. Uh, okay, I gotta get one more because I've one, right?
Yeah, they're all guys that you know. It's just knowing that they did this in this season is obviously the
Lemieux?
Lemieux. Yeah,
Is there another Penguin?
no, there is not.
Okay. Because I know there's some random 100-point seasons from guys who just played on that power play and like,
Yeah, but 130, maybe not.
yeah, no, no.
Um,
Okay, so I've got two.
take one more crack and then I'll tell you if you're wrong.
Iserman.
Yes, that's three.
That's the only Red Wing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That narrows it down a bit. All right. That's all I got.
So with 160 this year, Mario Lemieux,
Huh?
Adam Oates had 142.
Oh. Did
T
Cam Neely have a crazy points per game, but he missed that?
He might have. There are multiple seasons where that would be the case. I don't know if this
Yeah.
is one of them. Pat LaFontaine had 148.
I wouldn't have got that. I knew he had a crazy season, but I thought that was later.
Then it was Timu 132, Iserman 137, and the last guy was Pierre Turgeon, who had
Ooh,
132.
okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, would you have gotten that, do you think?
If you had let me sit here and drop names, I would eventually have checked the boxes, but I would not have. It would not have conformed to a like a three strike system or anything like that. I would have had a lot of incorrect answers before I got them all.
I kept thinking maybe Dale Hawerchuk, but then I was like, I don't think he had a 130-point season, so yeah. I mean, all right, I'll submit to three. I don't mind that. I'm happy with my three.
Yeah, McDavid's 6 points back of Kucherov right now. It's funny, like I think Panarin with 115 points is just going so under the radar. How crazy good of a season that is.
I
Just
mean, yeah, I've got him number four
yeah.
in my heart, in my mind. But like I said, I just don't think he's gonna get the votes.
No, I can see what you mean, and it's hard because the Rangers are almost too deep for him to get the votes. Does that make sense? Like, and it's funny because Tampa's also excellent, right? Like they've got Hedman, Stamkos, Point on that team, but um, I look at the Rangers and I still think their best player, and I don't get me wrong, Artemi Panarin is one of my favorite players in the NHL. I'm looking at his jersey on my wall right now. I think their best player is Adam Fox, right? And I think that that might be weighing on it a little bit for me. Just the fact that like Adam Fox, defensively, offensively, every single part of the game for the New York Rangers is impacted by Adam Fox. And I'm not. This isn't a slight against Panarin. He's an offensive machine. He's a point machine. He provides assists and he puts the puck in the net. But he doesn't do a lot in terms of, okay, the New York Rangers had a great 2-0 win where it was a tightly fought game. They'll win that game because of Adam Fox way more times than they'll win that game because of Artemi Panarin, right? Like, and again, this is so not me criticizing the guy. I love this guy, but that's kind of my thought with the Panarin Hart Trophy discussion.
So for me, that's kind of similar to why I don't have Matthews in my top three or
Me
maybe
too.
even
Oh,
four, is because in the first half of the season, William Nylander was running the show.
yeah.
It seemed every big goal they had scored for them, whether it was tying the game, winning it in overtime, or some massive highlight reel completely taking over a night, that was William Nylander. And I'm looking at a whole season put together. And it's hard to say that when a guy just hit 65 goals, but
Yeah.
me, he didn't run the show the whole year. Didn't feel like it at least.
Okay.
But I mean, we've talked about these races like all year long. I mean, I feel like once we get to the off season, we're gonna start looking at a couple players and we'll start thinking, how come we weren't talking about this guy at all?
That was me with Matthew Tkachuk last year. Like he totally just flew under my radar until the playoffs. And then when he was that good in the playoffs, I kind of looked at his regular season and said, you know what? Like if if Connor McDavid didn't just have 64 goals, this would have been his Hart Trophy year.
Could you imagine if Kirill Kaprizov's whole season went the way that 20 games in the spring, like late winter, early spring went, where he was just completely taking every team apart?
His second season with the Minnesota Wild, I would have given him some Hart votes. He had 108 points in 81 games in 21-22. And he was looking like that version of Kaprizov during that stretch. I love him too, man. He is so good. Like he's so much fun to watch.
Every time I'm watching hockey and he's playing and I'm watching it with someone who doesn't know hockey very well, I'm like, just watch his edge work. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm
Yeah.
like, ah, damn, all right, whatever.
Just watch his skating, man.
They're like, what's edge work? And I'm like, I don't know. Just watch. It's
It's
fine.
just a word we say. It actually doesn't mean anything, guys. You hear us say edge work.
Final prediction. Who ends up with winning the scoring race? I keep saying McDavid. Who do you got?
I think Connor McDavid will too.
Yeah.
I think yeah, I think we have at least a couple more 3 to 4 point nights out of him. And I hope one of them isn't on Saturday because I'm gonna be in that rink, James. I'm gonna be
Ooh,
there. I'm going up.
you're
It'll be the
going?
it'll be the last Canucks game I watch because there's no shot I'm affording those playoff tickets. But
Yeah, I know. I was I was thinking it's the kind of thing where it's gonna be the last game of the season, but I've also been dreading one thing, and I haven't been talking about it because I just don't want to put it out there. I really hope none of these three superstars have a mild injury grievance or something that is making them uncomfortable and they are sat for the last game of the season.
well, remember I think it was Mitch Marner a few years ago sat out when he was on 99 points the last game of the year, right? Like I imagine it's I don't think any of these guys are getting sat without the team coming to them saying, "Hey, this game doesn't mean anything. Do you want to take a maintenance day?" So at least it's going to be in the players' hands. That's what I'm saying. Unless the injury is so significant that it can't be.
And speaking of injury, I had a little bit of a scare as an Avs fan recently. Mikko Rantanen had a couple collisions with Matthias Ekholm, and I was worried. I was watching it with a friend who's not a huge hockey guy, but he understands the game, and he just went, "Uh-oh." That was the only thing he could think. He's like, "How serious is this? How serious is this?" So I start rewinding and I keep looking at it and I go, "Uh-oh." But good news, they're saying it's not all that serious and he will end up being okay. That's that's all I needed to hear.
It
I
looked worse than it was. That was
I
what I
don't
heard
need any
right
other
away.
information on it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I heard right away it looked worse than it was, which is good because, you want to talk about MVPs as much as you can say the same about McKinnon and Makar. Colorado without Rantanen is a very worse team.
Well, in just to close up NHL news before we talk about a fair amount of fun junior stuff that I'm actually pretty excited to get to. I just want to look into the end of this Eastern Conference playoff race. What the hell is going on? Can you just paint a picture for me? Because every time I have a painted picture ready to go, seems like someone just scribbles all over it with crayon.
Yeah, what's funny is the fact that like we know for an irrefutable fact who 6 of the 8 playoff teams are going to be. We've known that for a long time. What's funny to me is the fact that the third place team in the Metro and then the second wild card team, just because of the way the divisions work, like the fact that the first place wild card team, the Tampa Bay Lightning, are solidified, whereas nobody knows who's going to finish third in the Metro yet is kind of funny. So you have Boston, Florida, Toronto in the top 3 Atlantic spots, and then the fourth place team in the Atlantic is Tampa. They're the first wildcard team. They will remain the first wildcard team. The New York Islanders are currently third in the Metro on 85 points. Detroit's currently second in the wildcard race with 84. Pittsburgh has 84, Washington 83, Philadelphia 83. there have been times during the last 10 games where each one of these teams, Pittsburgh's probably been the most consistent, but each one of these teams have looked like they don't even want this playoff spot.
You know what I really, really want to see? I want to see all of these teams lose the remainder of their games, and then the Buffalo Sabres or New Jersey Devils win out the last four and squeak in.
That would only happen in the scenario in which you painted. That's the only mathematical way it works is if Detroit lose out and then Buffalo have 4 games left. Oh, they have four. Sorry, I was reading it as three. So 4 games left means they can get 8 points. So not quite. Detroit can win one more game.
Yeah, I mean, so looking at New Jersey's schedule, which is the most interesting, they have a home and home against the Leafs, which isn't great, but then they have the Flyers and the Islanders.
And those are 4 point games, obviously, in that context.
Yeah, and then looking at it for the Sabres, they have a couple other crucial matchups. So they play the Stars today. That's not great. And then they have the Caps, and then they have Panthers Lightning. That's not pretty. But then the schedule is really, really interesting to me on a lot of accounts because then you look at Pittsburgh. All right, so they're playing the Red Wings on Thursday, and then they've got the Bruins and then the Predators, but they close out against the Islanders. Something tells me that game between them and the Islanders is going to mean one of them not making playoffs.
I think you could say the same thing about the Detroit game on Thursday. That has the potential to as well. Dude,
True.
by any means, like the fact that we're kind of starting to get playoff feels right now, games that feel both in terms of the way they're being played and the magnitude of the results, they feel like playoff games. And man, this is going to be the start of a very fun sports season that we're going into right now.
Now, I feel like for the Capitals, everything can end tonight. They've got 5 games left, including tonight, where they play the Detroit Red Wings. They've lost 6 in a row going into this one. They felt like a lock 6 games ago. I felt like they were in, but they just kept losing over and over and over.
Yeah, well, and you can see like the teams in this race, Philadelphia are the team that has slid the most. 2-5-3 in their last 10. Washington is 3-5-2 in their last 10. Detroit is 4-4-2 in their last 10. Pittsburgh has been by far the most productive team in the last 10 games. They're 6-1-3. And that's kind of why I think Pittsburgh gets this spot. I think it'll end up being Pittsburgh and the Islanders just because those are the two teams that of this whole group have managed to consistently at least play well enough to get the points, right? And I kind of think that you know what I honestly think, James? The Islanders and Penguins game, you're billing as like one of them it wins and they're in, and then the other one loses and they're out. I think that's going to be for third place in the Metro. That's what that game is. And then the
Okay,
loser
so
ends up
is the other one
wild
also
card
the
two.
last game of the season between the Capitals and the Flyers?
I think they're both done by then.
Yeah, okay.
I think, yeah, I do. I think Pittsburgh and the Islanders are your two teams. I think if Pittsburgh beats Detroit on Thursday, that's your, you know,
Okay, the scenario that
that's
I
your
want to
big one.
see is I want to see Detroit lock up that last spot so we get showtime in the playoffs. And then I want, even though it's probably going to be for a short time, uh, that was not intended to be a pun. That I just want to make that clear because if that was a pun, that would have sucked. But I think it's going to be Pittsburgh and the Islanders competing for the last spot in the Metro, and the both wild cards are already snapped up.
Yeah, that very well could.
It's a mess. Like looking at it, it's a big, gross mess. I don't remember it being like this any of the last several years.
No, you've had your races between two or three teams, not necessarily this wide variety of teams, and B, the fact that most of them aren't playing good hockey, right? Like that's the other piece of this of, like every team has had the opportunity to take a stranglehold in a playoff spot in the last 2 months and completely squandered it.
Yeah, I saw some meme and it was like a pretty garbage one, but it was like a picture of all of their logo, or sorry, all their mascots, and then it was like lol, who wants to lose the most? And yeah, I don't know. The other part that kind of irks me a little bit is the fact that a team that is 36, 30, and 12 is very, very potentially going to make the playoffs. That's Pittsburgh's record. A team that has lost at least 42 games, like they have already decidedly lost more than half of the games during the season. That's gross. I don't like that. You should have to win more games than you lose to be allowed in the playoffs.
You know what? You want to be mad about that, then be mad about Gary Bettman's loser point. That's what you're mad about. Because you look at the Islanders, you're picking on Pittsburgh. The Islanders are 35, 27, and 15.
Oh yeah, yeah, they've already lost 42 games as well.
Yeah, so it's not just Pittsburgh. And those are the two teams that I think end up in, are the two
Yep.
teams that have
Oh
lost
yeah.
42 games apiece already.
I mean, Boston's got 15 loser points, but at least they've won 46 games. That doesn't bother me. Pile up those loser points, but try winning some. That would
Okay,
be
so
really,
before we transition, I'll ask you, ideal NHL point structure for regular season results. What is it?
honestly as is. I don't like
No,
any of
really?
the other
Okay.
styles.
I I
What's
like
yours? And tell me it does not have anything to do with any soccer slash football related point system.
it's the double IHF it's the double IHF system. 3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for an overtime win, 1 point for an overtime loss, no points for a loss. Because my thinking is if you're treating an overtime loss as if, well, you tied, so you get a point, then I think the win in overtime should also be devalued. I think each game should have 3 points in it to win. If you win in regulation, you get all 3 points, and then an overtime win is when you split them, and then the winner gets two, the loser gets one. I know like they're trying to emphasize the importance of the regulation wins because it's the first tiebreaker now. Like I understand that's the point of what I'm saying. It's like, okay, well, I'm trying to make the regulation wins mean more. That's what it's doing. But that's what I believe, right? Because I think that further I'm not as anti the loser point that way if I know that, well, they took a point away from the winning team by tying the game, right? Like it wasn't just an extra point that was handed out that night. That's just me.
You know the only reason that's never going to happen? Because the NHL doesn't want to put too many dashes between numbers for the casual hockey fan.
Yeah, that it would need to be a fourth line on the record. That
Yeah,
yeah,
no one likes that.
I
It's
know.
ugly to look at. It looks
I know.
terrible.
It's a lot of numbers. I get it.
It's so unappealing to the eye. But I mean, I digress. Oh God, I hate saying that. I've only said that one other time in my life. If don't ever let me say that again. Ugh. I don't digress. I don't digress. That's not a thing that I do.
Okay, so while we're looking at standings, let's start the junior hockey look ahead with the fact that the San Jose Sharks, James, look way more than anybody else the most likely to um finish last place in the NHL right now. They currently have 44 points. The Chicago Blackhawks in 31st have 51. That is the only team that could finish last other than San Jose right now. San Jose would have to win a significant portion of their games to remain to finish out the season, which
And I don't want to see them hit 20 wins. It's way more hilarious when you have your wins in the teens.
yeah, they have 18 and 77 games. So they need to win two of five. So it's very possible that they do and very possible they don't end up
I
with
hope they
20
don't.
wins.
This is
Yeah,
way more fun that way.
but right now they have the best odds to win the draft lottery and draft Macklin Celebrini, who just capped off his season, 32 goals and 64 points in 37 NCAA games. Um, is he Connor Bedard? No. Is he an excellent player who any team should be absolutely salivating over potentially being able to draft? Yeah, this guy's good. He's a very good all-around player. He's offensively gifted, which is so evident every time you see him play, but he's smart, he's very skilled, he's a good passer of the puck. And he because his dad worked for the Golden State Warriors, he spent a lot of time in the Bay Area. He played U14 hockey in San Jose before he moved to Shattuck St. Mary. So I think that would be kind of interesting that as much as, Macklin Celebrini's Canadian, he's born in Vancouver, he played for Canada, his connection to the San Jose area is is quite interesting. And to me, I think San Jose would be my destination to get him just because they don't get lucky, do they? The San Jose Sharks. Like
No.
I kind of think it's overdue that they get a stroke of good fortune here.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it's a fun NHL when they're good, I find. Like it's just nice having an ultra competitive group of California teams. And right now there's only one good California team ish. Like it was a very fun NHL in the early 2010s when any like that California road trip was a nightmare.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It sucked. Like you just finished getting tossed around by the physicality and skill of the Anaheim Ducks. And then you have to go deal with the San Jose Sharks rolling four lines of chaos at you. It's not great.
No, it
Not.
was
And then your reward at the end is a stop with the LA Kings to get bullied by Drew Doughty. Awesome. So yeah, I want them to be good. Um, I think that them getting him is the best possible result. But, I never ever expect the team with the least points to actually get the draft pick. I think it's probably going to end up being maybe the Ducks, maybe the Jackets.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Three or four just feels more likely.
Well, and what's funny about both Anaheim and Columbus, and even San Jose and Chicago, every single one of these teams, the Montreal Canadiens are the only team to me that don't have, like, obviously Nick Suzuki's on that team. He's their young first line center, but they don't have another center in that prospect pool that looks like the guy. Like Anaheim have Mason McTavish and Cutter Gauthier now in that center iceman prospect pool that look like they could both easily be the guy. You have Adam Fantilli in Columbus, and Cole Sillinger and Kent Johnson are huge question marks. They could both be, they both have huge, super high ceilings, but have not looked like they're ready to hit that anytime soon. In Chicago, obviously, you've got Connor Bedard, but you've also got Frank Nazar and Oliver Moore. Now, Celebrini's far superior to both of those players. San Jose, you've got Will Smith. Other than Bedard, and you can make the Leo Carlson, Adam Fantilli case. But other than Bedard for sure, Celebrini is at or above the level of these other players. Adam Fantilli is the one where I think Fantilli will surpass Celebrini in his career. Just it's just my opinion. It's interesting that he's not going to be the only guy on any of these teams, right? Like Connor Bedard in Chicago is always going to be the guy. You have Will Smith in San Jose, who's having a very, or sorry, I guess it's over. He had just an unbelievable season in the NCAA. Obviously, I am super curious to see what happens the first time that Will Smith, Gabe Perreault, and Ryan Leonard don't play together. How good are they at hockey when they're on their own? We'll see. We don't know the answer to that question. But it that's why it's very interesting to me is the fact that Macklin Celebrini is no matter what he's joining a forward core that already has some pretty solid prospects in place. You look at Arizona, Dylan Gunther, Logan Cooley, right? Like there's big building blocks on that Arizona forward core already that Celebrini's going to come and build around. Josh Doan looks excellent for the Coyotes right now. Looks like a steal as a second rounder. Yeah, it's interesting. The other part about the San Jose Sharks, James, that I wanted to talk about, they signed Collin Graf. Collin Graf has been a a name that I've, just kind of been waiting to get the NHL contract for a while. He was undrafted, played NCDC hockey, which is, it's junior A in the States. It's not a super high level of junior A in the States. Like he would have had to have had an unbelievably good season to get drafted out of the NCDC. He wasn't. He went to Union College his first year. Then he transferred to Quinnipiac. His first year at Quinnipiac, 41 games, 21 goals, 59 points. Quinnipiac wins the national championship. He followed it up with 22 goals and 49 points in 34 games last season. And he's very versatile player. He's got a lot of skill. San Jose Sharks sign him. I think that's a very, very good get for San Jose. You look at that team right now, and obviously you've got William Eklund there. But aside from William Eklund, you're looking at that group and you're saying, well, is Philip Zadina going to be part of this team long term? I don't know. Alexander Barabanov did not have a good year this year. There was a lot of expectation on him. Did not work out. You've got 24-year-old Fabian Zetterlund who you're looking at. Okay, we know we can have this guy in the middle six, but this is still a team that needs to figure out who's in their top six, figure out who their guys are. And I think Collin Graf going now and, being able to finish off the season in San Jose and then obviously have a hugely significant start to the season next year. He's in training camp. I think he's a top six forward for the Sharks next year. I don't think San Jose is good, mind you, but to me, I think him and Will Smith uh, are both in that San Jose top six next year. I like this guy a lot. He's good at everything. He's not, amazing at any one thing, but he's solid at everything. He can put up points. He's smart, and um, it's hard to project this year. The Calder race was so oversaturated. There was a ton of rookies this year, both from the outset and then throughout the season that you didn't see coming, kind of like a Marco Rossi, Connor Zary kind of guy. Um, I don't know about I don't know about the Calder race next year as much. You could see a guy sneak into the top three like Collin Graf, college guy that you wouldn't have heard of, right? Because I don't know if Macklin Celebrini goes straight in, right? Like obviously the first overall pick, Connor Bedard was the favorite this year. I don't know about Celebrini. And then you have the top picks in the draft last year. Like Will Smith is the highest pick in 2023 that'll be a rookie next year. But Carlson and Fantilli both played enough games this year that they can't be Calder eligible next season. And we're still a little bit out from Matvei Michkov, who will be he will be one of the more dominant Calder Trophy winners when he eventually does enter the NHL.
Well, 1 point in his first 2 games for Collin Graf, so we're off to a good start.
Yeah, he got an assist. I did place a waiver claim for him in our fantasy league, James. I'll see if that comes to fruition. It's just the end of the season. I'm not moving up or down. I want to seem smart if he ends up with a couple goals to finish out the season. Um,
Big difference making move, bro.
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna finish middle of the pack no matter what with this team I have.
Have you been paying attention to the standings and seeing my nightly battle for first?
No, I will look every few days and I can see the the
One
neck
of
and
us
neck
jumps
race.
20 points ahead every other day.
Yeah, it's funny.
Ugh. Yeah, I need tonight to be a big night. That's what I need. Like not average. I need big. We're down to crunch time. A lot of people's fantasy leagues, maybe some of our listeners come from leagues that do head-to-head matchups. So oftentimes they have playoffs. I'm not a head-to-head matchups guy. I like total season points.
I like both of them. They both have their place. I'm more of a total season points guy too. Landon DuPont is exceptional. I should have talked about this earlier. It's probably going to be the title of our episode because, man, um, yeah, I should give some context to just this random name is exceptional. So, exceptional status in the Canadian Hockey League means that the CHL has deemed you to be an exceptional player who is playing in the CHL as a 15-year-old. You are not usually allowed to do that. So you get to go into the CHL a year early. The WHL famously and long-standingly does not give this out, does not give this out easily. Connor Bedard years ago was the first ever player they gave exceptional status to. We have a second. His name is Landon DuPont from Calgary, Alberta. Edge school prep defenseman, right-hand shot, 5'11", 30 games this season, James. 19 goals and 62 points. Now, I'm going to further contextualize this by saying this is a 14-year-old defenseman playing U18 prep. The rest of the players his age are playing U15 prep right now, where he played last year. He is 4 years younger than the oldest people in this league that he's playing in. And it's a very high-level league, the Canadian School Sports Hockey League, the prep school programs, especially in Alberta. You have the Northern Alberta Extreme program, which is very good, and you have the Edge School program out of Calgary, which is good. This is a tough league. He's 14, playing U18, putting up more than 2 points a game as a defenseman, 19 goals in 30 games. He is unbelievable for his age. He looks like the best player in that league. And you're probably saying, well, of course he is. He got exceptional status. But to be the best player in a league at 14, a U18 league, let alone be a defenseman and be producing like this is crazy. We know already that James Hagens will probably go first overall next year. You've got Michael Misa and Porter Martone right there with them in the top three. Hagens is pulled away. He's probably the number one for 2025. Gavin McKenna looks like the slam dunk 2026 number one.
Who you also forgot to mention when talking about exceptional status players. He was actually the second dub player.
He didn't get exceptional status,
Oh,
McKenna.
what?
No,
I
he was
thought
just
McKenna did.
you're allowed to AP with a team for X amount of games. So when
Oh,
his season ended, he was like their affiliate at the end of their season during his 15-year-old season, but he wasn't given exceptional status. Um,
wow. Okay. Good call. Wow. Good flub me.
and that's okay.
I tried to
um,
dunk on you, and that didn't
I
work out.
I totally like have I feel like I've definitely made that mistake myself because he did play as a 15-year-old. He was just a call up. Um, which you're allowed to do for, I believe, up to 10 games a season. You can have affiliates play for you in Canadian junior hockey rules. Um, DuPont will play for likely, and again, almost 100% sure he'll play for the Everett Silvertips last year. They won the draft lottery in the WHL on a pick they acquired in the Olin Zellweger trade with Kamloops last year, James, which is interesting. So DuPont will more than likely be an Everett Silvertip. I've heard nothing but great things about being and playing in that Everett Silvertips organization. Obviously, we wish Landon the best. And this is a name to remember. Obviously, we're in Macklin Celebrini is the 2024 top prospect. We're 3 years out from this guy being an NHL pick, but it matters. It does. This isn't just me talking about a teenager like, oh, this guy's gonna be crazy, and it's just me talking out of my butt. No, this is the real deal. This kid's special, and we saw the Connor Bedard Roadshow his last year. If you see that the Everett Silvertips are coming to Vancouver, James, go watch what a 15-year-old defenseman can do in the WHL.
Well, and Aiden, you've got a connection with him as well. I believe you're friends with his brother, right?
Yeah, his brother and I have known each other for we met at the start of this season. He played on the team I was working for at the start of the year, and he was hurt, his brother Nolan. So um, that I got to spend a little bit of extra time with him just because he wasn't in the games, right? He was in the press box, and he's back playing now. Nolan, I totally have so stoked for him that he had an upper body injury that he got over, and it was it looked like his season might have been done pretty early, but he fought through, and testament to the family. Nolan's a very, very hardworking guy, and I like him a lot.
So one more thing on DuPont. I mean, just looking ahead, what is an ideal first season for a defenseman that it was just granted exceptional status? Like what kind of numbers would you want to see him put up?
Well, what's tough is because the WHL specifically is so not so doesn't do this exceptional status thing. There's nothing to really compare him to. Aaron Ekblad was given exceptional status as a defenseman, had 29 points in 63 games in the OHL in his first season as a 15-year-old. But Aaron Ekblad, number one, was one of those exceptional status kids because he was like he had an adult 6 foot whatever, like six
He
foot
looked
two
like Shea
frame.
Weber when he was like 15.
Yeah, like he was a man at that age, and that was why he got exceptional status. DuPont's, 5'11" is not a small kid, but he's not as physically dominating as Ekblad was, so it's a very different situation. Um, I I don't think statistics wise there's anything we can put on the kid because to me, honestly, the thing with Landon DuPont is when we're looking at him this year, or sorry, when we're looking at him at this time next year, I just want him to be a better player than he is now, right? Like, and he will be. You put him in that WHL. I think that's why it's huge. He got exceptional status because looked he looked too good as a 14-year-old for the U18 league he was going to play in. This year. So yeah, um, I definitely think it's going to be a huge couple seasons for him, and everything he's shown so far through his young career, he's not going to disappoint. But you know, 14-year-old kid, the sky's the limit. You heard him talk in the press conference if you watched yesterday. He talked about how Connor Bedard gave him a call to congratulate him. Said, "Don't forget to be a kid," which is really the biggest thing for somebody that age is just enjoy this.
Definitely. Great way to look at it. Well, I think that's all we have on Junior for now, unless there's something else we missed.
No, just a couple other things to close out, and we'll call this episode 50.
Oh, actually, I do have one more on Junior for you. Who's your pick to win each of the three CHL leagues?
Oh, man, Everett is. It's funny that Everett might draft first overall. They are a wagon this year.
They have a pretty solid prospect from the Kraken, I want to say. That's the only thing I can remember. I think they have a Kraken draftee.
I don't remember off the top of my head. The first thing that came to mind was Prince George. We obviously had Tarek Parasak on the show a little while ago. He is one of the reasons that the Prince George Cougars would have a lot of success. He's had an awesome season. Cologne is quite good. You have Ty Ginla and Andrew Cristall playing the for the WHL. I will go Prince George. Both their draft eligible prospects and their overagers, their older guys are very good players. They're very deep. Um, for the OHL, I haven't paid as much attention. Obviously, the OHL and the QMJHL. What I've seen out of the London Knights and Saginaw Spirit this year will tell me that they are the two, right? Saginaw have Michael Misa on that team, who's having a very good season. London are perennially contenders. They will always be contenders. So it'll be probably one of London or Saginaw out of that league. And then finally, the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. Halifax is always really strong. I don't watch this league as much as the O or the Dub, but I've been told Drummondville is probably the team to watch out for.
Okay, okay, interesting. I feel like the Q is the most unpredictable for me very often,
Yeah, and
but
then that's the one that I watch the least of, right? So I that's the one for sure that is, I'm more going off of what I've heard about the teams rather than, you know, personal viewings.
all right, fun. We'll see how those stand up, and we'll see how your opinion changes throughout the playoffs. I don't often watch enough junior playoffs. Once in a while, we get lucky, and one of them's just televised
Yeah.
in on a channel that I happen to get, or it's just like a random YouTube stream I've caught before. I don't think that YouTube stream was supposed to be happening, but I caught it there. But yeah, I think that's all we got for junior. Do you want to move to questions now?
Yeah, let's do
Okay. Well, we got asked my least favorite question. Your current
it.
Stanley Cup pick, because whoever I pick will not win the cup. Do I hand this curse out or do I plead the fifth? What do I do?
Give me give me the three teams you'd be least surprised to see win the Stanley Cup.
Um, Carolina, New York Rangers, Dallas Stars. I really wanted to say the Rangers for this one, but I've picked them too many times and I feel like I am part of the problem. So I'm not going to give them an end all be all pick. Where do you stand? What's yours?
Rangers were my pick last year. I think Carolina have them this year. Obviously, though they're both Metro teams, so I don't think anybody out of the Atlantic's going to win. I could totally see Florida going on another run. I don't
Hmm.
think Toronto or Boston have it this year for me. I think Tampa likewise is on the other side of their cup window now. I'll go out of the Central
Hey,
Dallas.
wait, you say that, but Tampa's also the team I want to run into in the first round least. Like if I'm Boston, I'm pissed off.
Oh,
Like that
totally,
sucks.
totally. Totally. I'm not saying they can't win a round. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying I don't
Yeah.
think they'll win the cup. It's really hard between Dallas and Colorado in that central. I think Edmonton and Carolina are two of mine. I've seen a lot of the Oilers and they look very good. If they get goaltending, the sky's the limit. So Edmonton, Carolina are two, and then man, it's a toss up between Dallas and Colorado. Whoever wins that second round series to me is probably my cup pick, though. Like I think the winner of Dallas and Colorado second round will win the cup. That's my 2 cents.
What I will say, Aiden, is this is the year where people picking their cut picks are going to be the most wrong because I feel like there's more true contenders this year than any other year in recent memory. Dallas, Colorado, Edmonton, Vegas, Florida, New York Rangers, Carolina Hurricanes. Um, I'm missing one. No, no, I think
No,
that's
that's
where I
that's
stand.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then you rattle off all those teams, and then still, I could totally see Boston. I could totally see Vancouver. As much as I hate to say it, you could totally see Toronto going on a little run, right? Like even beyond the true contenders, there are more teams that I still think aren't pretenders in terms of man, they get hot with hot goaltending, and why not, right? Like,
If Tampa goes on a run, I won't be surprised at
yeah,
all.
exactly. Yeah. No, they're there's a lot of quality, and it's kind of funny. And just very quickly, I'll park just 2 minutes to say this. Like, it's funny to look at the teams in the top of the league right now, James, all look very strong, right? It doesn't look like there's too many pretenders. There's not too many inflated records. Like, everybody's pretty good. And then you look at the bottom of the league, and obviously San Jose, if they add Macklin Celebrini, which they're the leading contender to do so right now, could very much not happen. But I just went through all those teams to talk about best fits for Macklin Celebrini a couple minutes ago, and man, like so many of those teams have very good prospect pools. There are a lot of things to be happy about for all of them, right? Like I think the teams that are in the worst shape right now are kind of your Pittsburgh Washingtons, the teams that are at the end of a competitive window that they're not going to win in anymore. I'm sorry. Like that's just a fact. Without any prospects in the pipeline because they've been sellers for so long, but sorry, buyers for so long, and they've sold off those prospects. Um, okay, next question. Canadian team with the best chance to win the Stanley Cup.
Edmonton.
Edmonton, I think by a country mile. Yeah.
I don't think they're that far ahead of Toronto.
I think it's Edmonton. Oh man, I put a lot of stock in goaltending, right? And I know like Edmonton's goaltending isn't the best, but I've watched Stuart Skinner play well
Aiden,
enough.
what happened? What happened last year when you picked series winners based on goaltending matchups?
It didn't go very well when I did, but you know what? I also didn't expect Aiden Hill to be what he was. That would have definitely changed my outlook on the entire playoffs.
Hmm.
But I take Winnipeg with Connor Hellebuck and Vancouver with Thatcher Demko over Toronto with Ilya Samsonov. Honestly, I think I think Vancouver and Winnipeg. I think it goes Edmonton, Vancouver, Winnipeg, Toronto, probably. Um, yeah, probably that's my four in order.
The reason I don't have Toronto any higher is because I do not want to play Florida.
No, I don't think they win around again. And I kind of, I think it's part of it is the luck of the draw in terms of the divisions. Like they obviously they had Tampa last year and they beat them, which was good. They were the first team to beat Tampa Bay pre Stanley Cup final since the 2019 Blue Jackets. But I don't think they beat Florida, and if they do, I don't think they beat Boston.
I think they're more likely to beat Boston than Florida.
Me too. Me too. But I still establishing that I still don't see it.
Okay, I will say if they beat the Panthers, I think they beat the Bruins.
I totally see why you were saying that, but I definitely also had that thought last year when they beat Tampa.
Oh
Like
wait, I'm sorry, not the
100%.
Bruins. The Bruins are going to get knocked out first round against the Lightning.
You think Tampa beats Boston in the first round?
Yep.
Ooh, that's bold.
And I will bet on it too.
That'll be a good series. Yeah, no, I need to I I I was ahead in my sports betting kind of career, so I hung them up temporarily just because I was like, okay, I've made some good money doing this, but we have these NHL playoffs and then we have the European Championship coming up this summer. So I'm gonna have to re-download the app.
I actually screwed up yesterday. I went to take a nap and I guess I didn't hit place bet. I put over 4.5 total goals in the game and Thomas Hurdle one or more points.
Oh, you
And
would have had it.
yeah, I would have had it. Would have been a nice quick little parlay, but no dice, no dice. I've done very well lately on McKinnon over 4.5 shots and the over in whatever the Avs game is. That's a very fun one for me. And just to close out the season, anyone want a betting pick? They often have Bedard's shots at the over being 3.5. He often hits, and the odds aren't that bad. So if anyone wants to attempt to make some dough, no, this is not financial advice. Gambling is gambling. You are not going to win most of the time, but it's fun to do. So yeah, I'm not endorsing it, but I endorse that pick.
Last question. You guys do movies, but what's your favorite TV shows?
You want to go first because I feel like your answer is probably shorter.
Yeah, I mean, I like the ones I like. And you know what? I think my answers are also going to be relatively popular picks. I love The Office and I love How I Met Your Mother in the comedy sphere. I like my kind of documentary style stuff too. I don't watch those as much. In terms of drama, I love Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul so much. Like it's arguably those two shows I would have them as like my favorite pieces of media if you include movies too. Like they're both just so well done in every way. Um, that's probably mine. Yeah, I think that would be mine. Those are the four that have like stayed my favorites throughout the other ones I've also watched that I've like, got into and then lost interest in.
I'd say like for me, I've got different shows for different types of things. Like when I start binge watching something, I will binge watch it. I will take up all of the available time on that. A couple summers ago, I started watching Suits. There are like 9 seasons of Suits, and I ripped through that. And apparently, everyone in the world is doing that right now, to the point where two of the stars from that show are making a rewatch podcast.
I
Um,
heard that. I
yeah.
also watched, it is funny that you're saying that. I was a year early on this Suits binge because I wa started watching at the start of last summer and I finished it in the fall.
Yeah, did you also find yourself taking a break with 2 seasons to go because it just wasn't the same and you needed some time before going back in?
yes, it was, yeah. The quality of the show does dip as it does with many others. I think
It
that
gets mildly
actually,
repetitive, but it's a comforting
yes,
repetitive, and I
yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah.
And then for comfort viewing, How I Met Your Mother has always been one of my favorites my whole life. I have probably watched it start to finish at least 65 times. Yeah, I to the point where like any episode starts, the first line of the show, I could tell you what's gonna happen in that episode. Like I couldn't recite it word for word, but it was my go to bed show for years. Like you can't replace that in your memory. It just stays there. But last year I watched Succession. I caught up with it right at the end before the last episode came out. Damn. That is like without a doubt one of the best shows I've ever watched. I'm also a huge like kind of like fantasy drama kind of thing. Like I loved Game of Thrones, The House of the Dragon that came out like a couple years back and is continuing soon. That was phenomenal. I love The Boys. It's just a dark train wreck of a take on superheroes and it's so much more fun.
I just started watching Gen V. Like
Gen V's great.
I finished the third episode yesterday night.
And have you
Um,
watched The Boys?
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Next
it is
season's
quite
coming out soon, man.
it is quite good. No, I'm a pretty big fan. That will be good. A good portion of my summer will be the
But
when the new season drops.
I also really enjoy good one-off shows. Like I don't know if you've ever watched the Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson season of True Detective. That is without a doubt the best season of television ever created.
Interesting. That's a high praise.
And because the way they do it in True Detective is it's an anthology series. Every season is a different setting and a different group of
Yeah,
characters.
yeah. I think
Uh,
you've told me this before, I think.
yeah, there's a season with Mahershala Ali as well.
Oh,
That
I
was really
love
good.
him.
Yeah,
He is such a good actor.
yeah, and it's
Green
like
Book and Moonlight,
dark,
he was just
gritty.
so
Yeah,
I really fell in love with him in Moonlight and then I watched Green Book. It's like, oh my God, this is
yeah.
awesome.
And then to tack it on at the end, I've also on and off enjoyed watching anime my whole life. Like I've been on and off with it. Um, uh, even if you don't like anime, Attack on Titan is one of the best shows ever created. It just is. I'm sorry. If you don't like anime, then just disregard it. But even if you don't like anime, you'll understand how great this show is from a storytelling perspective. Um, yeah, I think there's only one other show I want to note. And
Me too. You go first.
HBO and I want to say maybe I think it was just HBO put together a show called Winning Time. That was the rise of the Showtime era Lakers with the Magic Johnson era dynasty and how Jerry Buss turned them from a boring, not even televised, not like no attention going to them to the hottest ticket in town. And it is so good, but they canceled it after season 2 because apparently viewership dipped and the story will never end. So if you're going to watch it, I recommend you just watch the first season and leave it at that. Because the second season, the way it ends, you're just kind of like, okay, well, I want to see what happens next. And that sucks. I am a firm believer in if you were going to start watching a show late, quickly go check if it actually finished or not. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time.
It's fair. It's fair. Okay, that's all the questions. Do you have trivia for me? I think I had trivia for you last week. If you don't, no worries.
First, before we go trivia, did you watch any movies this week?
Oh, yeah. Um, I haven't watched anything good this week. I
It doesn't
watched
have to be
one
good.
of the
Just mine's
worst
not good
movies I've
either.
ever seen this week.
I like those two.
Yeah, so what me and Caitlin have started to do, and she wants to like make like a whole movie journal, which I think is a great idea. It's just neither of us have done it yet. We were getting in very into watching like like movies that I really like where I was showing her ones off our watch list that we wanted to watch together. We have since started going to really, really bad horror movies, like intentionally,
Hmm.
just awful horror movies, just to kind of like laugh at. Watched one called Knock Knock starring Keanu Reeves from 2015.
Okay. Oh,
This
I know about this one.
one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Wait, is that where the two girls show up at the door?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I heard it's pretty garbage.
The it's the acting of Keanu Reeves for me. He's so not convincing in this movie as like this character. It's a lot of what I don't like about movies. It's the lazy exposition. It's the um the dialogue that sounds like it was written by somebody who like didn't test it out in like a table read because it would have been so obvious that human beings don't talk like this. um, yeah, don't watch it. It's terrible. That's all I'll say.
That bad, really.
Yeah.
Okay. On the other end, I went through a 90s, early 2000s popcorn movie kick, and the highlight for me was rewatching Charlie's Angels for the first time since I was 6 years old. That is just so fun.
I haven't seen it.
Action comedy is something that is not very good anymore, and when they are done, they're not done well.
No, I
Uh,
think action comedy, like the mediocre action is all being taken seriously now. It's like, okay, we're gonna make an okay action movie, except we're gonna make it serious. Before, when action wasn't good, it was then funny. And I think that's what is better.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Totally. Well, yeah, I think that's all I have for you on movies, but I do have some trivia for you. I put together career trajectories. I had one of these players written down, and I've since turned it into three. So now you got three to deal with.
Okay.
They are ranging in my opinion, easy, medium, hard. And so here goes the first one. This player played from 99 2000 till the 14-15 season and went Philadelphia Flyers, Tampa Bay Lightning, Los Angeles Kings, Philadelphia Flyers, Boston Bruins.
Philly, Tampa, LA, Philly, Boston. I know this one. I know I got it. Like I know it for sure. I'm looking at this list and it's almost at the point where I'm a little bit upset it hasn't come to me yet.
It should.
I know this should not be that hard. I'm trying to think finished career in Boston 14-15 because that's important.
That is important.
Yeah. No, I got it. Simon Gagne, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Good move. Good
It was the
move.
second Philly trip. Yeah.
Yeah. That is one of my favorite players I've ever watched play. I was such a big fan of that guy. Like, because you think about it, as I was getting back into hockey, he was like a high demand player on the move. And he was such a good skater, and he was so good in the NHL games. Oh, such
For
a good
me,
player.
what I remember about him was the very instrumental part he played in that 2010 Philly Boston second round. One of the best playoff series ever. Boston was up 3-0. Philly won that in seven on the way to the Stanley Cup final. He was great in that series. I think he had the game winner in game seven, if I'm not mistaken. Either that or he tied the game.
So,
Yeah.
all right, next up, you got that one pretty well. This player played from the 2005-2006 season until the 2020-21 season. Career went Atlanta Thrashers, Philadelphia Flyers, Tampa Bay Lightning, Ottawa Senators, New York Islanders.
This feels obtainable too, just from scribbling down this list that you gave me and now trying to think about them. Philly, Tampa, Ottawa, Islanders. Philly, Tampa, Ottawa. The Atlanta part is what I should be focusing on here, honestly. Because there aren't that many players that were Atlanta Thrashers this late on. Okay, James, I think I'll need a hint.
Think you need a hint, eh? Okay. This player was drafted more than 1 year before his rookie season and was a pick in the first half of the first round.
Okay, I'm gonna straight up ask this because the player I think it is, if if I'm right, you're gonna say yes to this. This Atlanta, Philly, Tampa, Ottawa Islanders list. Philly and Tampa are the two like spots I remember this guy at the most by far. Did he spend most of his season in Philly or Tampa?
Make your guess. You got to be wrong once.
Okay. Braden Coburn.
Bang.
Nice.
Yeah, there you
How
go.
how long did he play for Ottawa and the Islanders? Ottawa, I very vaguely remember, but I don't remember the Islanders whatsoever.
The 2020-21 season saw him play 16 games with the Sens and then 3 with the Islanders.
Okay, so that's why.
I can't picture him in an Islanders jersey if I
Well,
try.
me neither. 3 games there. No, I remember him being a Flyer and then a Tampa guy because he was like Radko Gudas was that trade, I think, for him.
Yeah, that's
That was
right.
how Gudas ended up in Philly, and then he ended up in Tampa. Okay, cool.
All
One
right,
more?
you ready for the
Yeah.
last one?
Okay, let's do this. Is this the hardest?
I think so.
Okay, do I get another hint? Because that'd be nice.
Yeah, yeah, you get a hint when you need to ask for it.
Okay.
Okay. This player played from the 2000-2001 season up until the 17-18 season. His career went Edmonton Oilers, Columbus Blue Jackets, Washington Capitals, New York Islanders, Anaheim Ducks.
Sometimes you'll drop something, like you'll finish talking because you just did. This isn't edited. You'll finish giving me one of these, and I'll look at the list and I'll get hit with like the this is a goalie feeling. Is this a goalie? Because I have the this is a goalie vibe from this list of names already. I just want to say that.
Well, do you want your hint or not?
Um, can it be the answer to that question? Because if
Yep,
you'll, oh sure, yeah, yeah, tell me.
but that's got to be your hint. Is
Yeah.
that the only hint you want? Okay.
Oh man. You know what? I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. Don't do that.
Okay.
I'll try something else here.
I wouldn't have taken that either.
Yeah. Because then if the answer is no, then I'm screwed. That's why. Okay, James, I'm gonna need the hint for the last one.
Okay. All right. It took me some thinking about it because all of the hints I was thinking were too niche and they wouldn't help at all. This player was a key contributor on one of the teams he played on for a fair bit of time, and his last season on that team happened to be the season before they won a Stanley Cup.
Okay, so looking at this, it has to be Washington then. So I'm looking for pre 2018 Washington Capitals guys. Key contributor.
Well, actually, you're on the right path, but I was 1 year off. It was 2 seasons before they won the cup.
Okay, I don't remember this guy being anywhere but Washington, but is it Brooks like?
No, it is not Brooks like.
Okay. That was the only name I had. Yeah, James, I'm tapping out.
You're tapping out?
This isn't gonna happen.
Well,
So,
you missed out on one Mr. Jason Chimera.
was he that key to Washington? How
He
good was he in
played pretty
Washington?
heavy middle 6 minutes and he was consistently like a 20, 30 point guy. 40 points twice.
Oh,
20 goal
nice.
scorer once, half a point per game in a playoffs a few times.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that.
But yeah, I had the year wrong for a sec, but
The year
I
he
corrected it. It
left.
was it was still the right idea.
Okay. All right. I'll take it.
That's all we
I'll,
got
I'll
then. I
take it.
mean, two
Brooks
for
Lake was
three,
an
you're
okay
pretty
guess.
good.
Yeah.
2 for 3 is solid. Like you can't complain about that.
No, no, it's all good.
Well, that's all we have for this week, guys. I want to thank you all for listening. I'm going to tell Aiden for the first time, and I guess you guys right now. Our next week's episode may end up being late because I am going to the Coachella Valley Music Festival in near Palm Springs this weekend, and I will not be available at the top of this coming week, so that will probably delay it a few days. But we will definitely catch you in the next one. So without further ado, let's roll that outro. Thanks, guys.